The Simulation Football League presents The Kramer Show. Your non-stop SFL action begins now.
Thanks again, Mike Dax, for that beautiful, lovely intro. And the music is starting to grow on me a little bit for this show. I really do like it. It has a little creepy, edgy theme, but it works, I feel like, in this instance. So, another Kramer Show. We're at the episode 3 coming on, and we have only one guest on the show for today. Yes, the SFL Commissioner Cameron Irvine will be actually joining me later on here shortly. But we also got some recaps to do, predictions at the end of the show. I'm also got a little bit of speculations going on, and also I got a little bit of I don't have a gambling problem, but I do like to do some FanDuel stuff. So, I mean, why can't we interact that more in SFL? I'll get into more of that a little bit later. But first, let's get into those recaps because, I mean, I won't get you wrong. I had a busy week this week, but I was able to catch up on all the action and get some stuff going on because Charleston and Vancouver defeated Charleston 41-10. Suda Nakai, it's another game. It's the second one of the season that it looks like he's probably the best running back in the SFL for season 14 so far. 161 yards with 3 scores. You also got to give credit to that defense, the Bash Brothers. 3 interceptions in total, 2 from Doug Day and 1 from Brian Craven. Charleston, I thought in week 1 would start out as, at least a decent or better team, but I mean, it is week 2. SFL is weird. I mean, they only scored 10 points. I know for a fact they'll have a better game in the next coming up. We'll see on the predictions-wise. Other game that also happened was Sioux Falls defeating Houston 40-21. Interceptions just killed Houston. It seemed like an interception happened and Sioux Falls capitalized. Colin Hart, 142 yards along with 2 scores. Once again, it was a 40-21 Sioux Falls victory. Sioux Falls improved to 2-0. Sioux Falls, team you need to watch out for. They're the under-the-radar team that you need to watch out for. Moving on, we have Queen City defeating Chicago 46-10. I don't think Chicago got off the bus for this game. They could not get anything going at all. Stephen Hacker, I believe, is still catching footballs and still running for touchdowns as he had 368 yards along with 4 scores. A.J. Caswell, 535 yards passing along with 5 touchdowns. It's kind of crazy to think Stephen Hacker had 4 out of the 5 touchdowns that Caswell threw. Queen City, man, I did not see this coming from you at all, especially with Chicago. I know how last season Chicago's defense was absolute prominent. Lost on a Hail Mary 2 weeks ago. They lost by 36 this coming week. Chicago, man, you got to pack up your stuff, get it going, keep it going. How about this next time you get off the bus? How about that works? Atlanta 35, Las Vegas 6. Las Vegas, this is another case of not being able to get anything going due to Atlanta's defense. Atlanta's defense, probably either the second or third best defense in the SFL right now. Marcus Dunhill looks solid again, 2 passing touchdowns along with 286 yards. Aaron Lee, 11 tackles. Black Chances, 8 tackles and an interception. Tulsa, Arizona. Arizona gets their first victory, 34-31. I thought Tulsa was going to have another Hail Mary comeback watching that game just before the Denver Night Wings game. And, I mean, it didn't happen that way, but they had the ball 12 seconds left and a sack into the game, I believe, or was just an incomplete. No, it was an out route that it didn't work at all. So, yeah, it was another game of, that's going back and forth. But Eddie does get his first win, and it was a first win that was in Arizona, which is the perfect way to get your first win. But turnover fest. 8 total by Arizona, but they still take the win. That is ridiculous. That is phenomenal. That's impressive. But Ashley Jackson, you need to step up, not step up your game because your game's still good, but you got to get that consistency going. Going into the nightcap of that Monday night, Seattle 24, Denver 13. Sandman was a truck. Let's get that all right now. 30 carries, 227 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah, Denver started off hot and they got ice cold really quick. It seemed like once that first quarter ended, Denver didn't come out for the second, the third, or the fourth quarter. It was not settling. I mean, the last 6 points of the game for Denver were field goals. You had an interception in the end zone on their second drive. You got to capitalize on stuff. You got to capitalize on it. And Sandman looked a lot better than Jared McChesney, which Jared McChesney owns the series against Sandman, but Sandman got it back with a huge chunk of that 227 yards. Baltimore 33, Mexico 17. Baltimore is a well-run team, and they can hurt you in many ways at any time they feel like hurting you, and that's pretty much all the time. A 33-17 win against Mexico City, that's impressive, and it was on their road. This was the first road game of the week that was a victory for the road team. Baltimore, I believe they are the best defense in the SFL. They have one of the best potent offenses. If they're clicking on offense, that means they're definitely clicking on defense, and they showed it right there. Dazzo had 327 yards, 116 yards on the ground from T. Roy Gaines. A lot of stuff coming, a lot of yards coming. This is a team that is just potent in a good way, potent in a very good way. Jacksonville 24, Florida 12. This is the only two road teams that actually got a victory this week. I'm very shocked Florida lost their home opener. Very, very shocked. Strong passing attack by Christensen. Alex Bond with 2 interceptions. And Ron Cochran, 52% completions percentage with 3 interceptions. And that is not a stat line that I've seen Ron Cochran make in, I don't think, ever since I've been in the SFL. I've never seen him have a stat line that was that low and that not good. Not good at all. Going to Wednesday's action, New Orleans Pharaohs 44, Carolina Skyhawks 38. 3 overtimes. And that's impressive. Now that is, it's odd to see a 3 overtime game in the SFL, but it happened. Carolina forced 6 turnovers, but nothing came from it. And the offense is there. It needs to come alive. They seem lackadaisical, and that's not good to have. But that defense for Carolina is a force, and it's a force to be reckoned with. Zane Doty, 4 interceptions. I would not throw in that direction where he's at. Gold is giving everyone the ball with 537 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he had 6 interceptions as well. Ermic Jackson led in receiving with 9 receptions, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns for New Orleans. Go to the nightcap of Wednesday, London 24, St. Louis 17. Diesel Dawson 131 yards and 2 scores, but St. Louis couldn't get it done, and London got their home opener victory. Well, I think it's not their home opener. They had a home opener last week, but they got their first win of the season. Pickler, 58% completion percentage, not the greatest, but he was under pressure a lot. Williamson Davidson helped on that by 2.5 sacks. Wasn't good, but if you want to go back to the London side, Angus McElwain may have 2 interceptions, but he did have 270 yards with 3 scores. That was your Week 2 wrap-up, a recap of the Simulation Football Season 14. So we're not seeing a big difference and big, I wouldn't say change, or I don't know, you wouldn't see the team coming out in front as of late yet. I'm going to say by at least Week 5, we'll see who are the top 10 teams in the SFL. And honestly, the way that the power rankings look right now, that it could end up being like the way it is. Like the teams that are undefeated right now, such as I can see Vancouver still staying on there, Baltimore, of course. You can even have, you can throw in Atlanta, of course. There's a lot of teams right now that look really good. I know there's a lot of 1-1 records, but that also doesn't play the fact of how well they can play on a given day, especially on the home games. A home team usually wins those games, but of course 2 teams this past week won on the road. So, I mean, anything is possible, but there is a rise. Yes, there's a rise in the SFL of, just guess one moment. It's turnovers. Turnovers is huge this season. Week 1, there was a total of 40 turnovers. Week 2, there's a total of 50 turnovers. That's 90 total in 2 weeks. What is going on? How is this even happening? Honestly, it's the addition, I believe, of new players in the league, the big expansion of this past offseason, going from, I believe, it was either 12 or 13 roster spots to 17. I think it was 12. I know Cameron should help me on that later on in the show. But 90 turnovers? That is, the defense for everybody right now is playing lights out. But it also doesn't help that the accuracy right now for quarterbacks is just plummeting. It's just that's the thing that shocks me the most is we usually see all these quarterbacks in the SFL have very good, seasons to where they only have maybe 10 interceptions, possibly up to 20. That's probably like the cap on most. man, there is 90 total turnovers. That's still, it's stunning. And the fact that that's 90 now, what's it going to be like by, I don't know, say week 7? Week 7, it could probably be up to 300 to 400. Just how this rate's going, I mean, we're probably going to be over 100 after week 3 easily. I mean, there's only 10 total turnovers, and that can easily happen in one game. We've seen that happen in one game in week 2 and one game in week 1. There was 11 in week 1 on one of the teams, and they won the games. And there was 10 just this past week. And I'm pretty sure that was the Vancouver and Charleston game. And that's just, it doesn't make sense, but it's kind of cool to see the defensive players are stepping up. They're getting to that quarterback quicker. They're reading what he's going to throw quicker. And the quarterbacks just need to have better accuracy. That's the thing. Got to get into them in practice. You got to make sure that offensive coordinator's playing those right plays. That's going to try to break away from either man coverage, cover 2, Tampa 2, anything. Any of the defensive coverages. You got to break away from that. I think there's going to be a lot better scouting needs to happen. But you never know. It's always a chess match every single game. All right, now let's get into the betting. Betting in simulation football. Why not? I mean, everybody likes to gamble. I mean, if you're of age, you can gamble if you want to. I only do it for certain sports. I don't put like the $50. I rarely put $1 on stuff. I usually do like the penny stuff, like the 5 cents, 50 cents. I go as high as 50 cents. But I mean, the simulation football league, it could work. At some point, I believe that will happen because sports gambling is one of the hottest trends coming right now. Will it improve the league? I believe so. I can believe more people will actually watch the games and they'll actually put like household bets, like maybe like a daily fantasy lineup or a weekly fantasy lineup, because the way that the SFL works, we have games pretty much it seems like every single night of the week. Just this past week alone, with starting on Saturday, Sunday, it went all the way through Wednesday. That I could see how that could be a daily fantasy lineup thing, could possibly happen. I hope it does happen. Fingers crossed on that could actually happen. And let's go to why it won't work. Inconsistent play. The betting would probably be all on running backs, because if you go back into just this past week, I'm pretty sure the running back that did not play that as they're supposed to is Jared McChesney. I think he only had like 50 yards rushing, maybe 60. But it's almost as if the running backs get more of the spotlight, so there's more running plays. But that can also change, because maybe why they're running the ball so much is because, one, there's been a lot of blowouts, it seems. That, two, quarterbacks have been throwing a lot of interceptions. Like we just mentioned, there's been 90 total turnovers. But, of course, running backs fumble the ball, too. You can't just put it all on the actual quarterback. Like, I just feel like it could be a complete waste of time. It could be a complete waste of money, to be honest. But, I mean, it could work and it can't work. Now, the SFL needs a fantasy league, I hope. I mean, I wish. I mean, this is pretty much a fantasy league as the entire SFL is. So, why not have like a little daily, not even a daily fantasy or weekly fantasy, have everybody draft whatever. I mean, I don't know how you can actually get an engine, a website to put all these names in and boom, let's go. Put anybody, as many people as you want in there. Maybe there's a cap probably like maybe 18 or maybe 12. Because, I mean, there's only 20 teams, and yeah, it would be a cluster. So, I mean, that could work either, but I mean, you got to put some gambling on here. At some point, I believe that will actually happen, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe we'll see it in season 16, 17, or 18. That is my bet that we'll see some gambling coming on with SFL betting. We're going to take a quick break right now, and we're going to come back. We'll have Cameron Irvine on with me here on the Kramer Show, so stay tuned for more, and we'll be right back.